on issues related to accounting and auditing in NPO sectors and structuring and taxation of NPOs and charitable organizations. To be the technical session speakers for these two topics, we have two stalwarts from the Guru and Jana bandwagon. First one is CA Sri Lakshmi P and CA KL Prashant. Now I request CA Geeta, Treasurer of Bangalore branch, to kindly escort the technical session speakers onto the stage and welcome them with the floor bouquet. Before I hand over the podium to the speakers, I would like to give you all a brief introduction about the session speakers. First, we have Sri Lakshmi P. She is a chartered accountant along with the company secretary. She is also a recipient of a gold medal during her BCom days. She did her articleship in Vijay Raja & Co. She is presently practicing as a chartered accountant with over 7 years of experience. She has also worked in BMR Advisors for a brief stint of about 2 years. She is currently the partner at Guru and Jana, which is a 280 member firm heading the team of corporate governance. She has also attended holistic development programs. She is also an active founding member of the CAPS Foundation. She has conducted a session on women empowerment in Fidelity National Financial for female employees on the occasion of Women's Day. She has also conducted a session for about 750 chartered accountants on dividends in a comprehensive workshop on Companies Act 2013 at the Bangalore branch of ICAI. With this brief introduction, I welcome you once again, madam. We also have with us CA Prashant KL. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is a graduate in commerce from Bangalore University. He is qualified in DISA and holds the Certificate of International Taxation course conducted by ICAI. He has worked for UB group of companies before getting into practice in 2004. His area of practice encompasses issuing opinions to companies on tax planning, structuring the international transactions in a tax-efficient manner, transfer pricing study, documentation and certification to corporates, handling transfer pricing cases before the TPO, DRV and ITAT. He has presented various papers relating to direct taxes in seminars organized by Bangalore and other branches of ICAI and at other forums as well. Also, he has presented papers in DTRTI on recent judicial rulings. He is a regular faculty at the JMCS course conducted to the students by the ICAI. With this introduction, I welcome you also, sir. Over to CA Sri Lakshmi P.
A very happy evening to all of them present here. Actually, the time is already 4 o'clock and my session was supposed to end at 4. So I can probably tell thank you and go, and the people coming after wouldn't even know that I didn't take a session. Nonetheless, I'll do justice to the little time that I have here. I will start off with a video for all of you which will probably provoke some thoughts.
Escaping from one world, but connected to another. Priceless. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Wherever you escape to, MasterCard is the best way to pay.
Anybody can make a connection to what the video played and what I have in mind. You may all be wondering, The first reason I can clearly tell you is I'm a huge fan of Sachin, so I made you all watch the video for my own selfish reasons. But no, the second and actual reason why we saw that video is, before me we had two speakers talking about professional opportunities that are there in NPOs, and then we had Mr. Matthews tell us about the corporate governance required for NPOs. But professional opportunities and corporate governance is possible only if NPO is making money, right? So we all need money. So my session today is going to revolve around funding opportunities for NPOs. And my slide here is going to tell you something. Money in the hands of a good human being will create a new world. There's a man standing on a lot of coins there, and he's envisioning a new world. I'll give you an example. Let's say there is a 10 rupee note fallen down here. Will any of us pick it up? Okay, 10 is too small. I'll take 1000 rupees. 1000 rupee note fallen down here. Will any of us pick it up? I certainly would. Let's say I pick it up and I go outside and buy some fruits for my house and I take it home, and we all eat happily. But if I don't pick it up and somebody bad comes and picks up the 1000 rupee note, what he would do with that? He would probably buy a knife and threaten somebody or something. So what I'm trying to tell you is, money in the hands of a good person can help in growing the world, whereas money in the hands of bad people will destroy the world. So every good human being has the moral responsibility to be rich. My teacher Mahatriya taught me this. It's the responsibility of each one of us who is sitting here. We are good human beings. So we have to make money enough to support the society, to support our family, because we are good human beings. Now NPO, the moment somebody tells you about NPO, the synonymous word that comes to us is CSR. What is CSR? The widely talked about term today, corporate social responsibility. But for me, in today's session, what I'm going to take you through is some of the strategies. So charity is required, yes, but charity with strategy is what rocks. So CSR is charity with strategy. Charity with strategy, and it rocks. So should you make money? Yes, NPO is a good human being and it should make money. And Dr. Matthews was telling that 99% of the NGOs today are fraud NGOs, and you may all be sitting here thinking, what is the point of listening to how a fraud NGO or an NPO gets funded? But you can think that I am talking about the rest 1% who is going to get funded, and still it is going to be in billions. Now, for an NPO to make money, it needs to make profits. Profits, of course, for its own sustenance, for its own growth, so that it can support the cause. Now, how do one make profits? It can make profits by advertisements, by building a brand, by doing a marketing strategy, by creating a selling platform. By advertisement, what do you mean? What I mean is that you advertise about the cause of your NPO to the people, make them know about it, so they know what you stand for. And then there is building a brand, that is by creating visibility amongst people and get them to think about you, like CRY. When we tell CRY, we all know what CRY is. So they have done a brand building, and there is something called as a marketing strategy. So you identify who your customers are and go and sell them the ideas that you have about your NGOs. So it is very important to have a marketing strategy. And then comes your creating a selling platform. You should devise a platform by which money is collected. There are various ways of collecting money, and through creating a selling platform, you can get money for your cause. Now this all sounds like a business enterprise, right? But a business enterprise would earn money for its own self, whereas an NGO, the objective is different. It would earn money to help the larger cause. That is the difference between an NPO and a business enterprise. So can NPOs be billion-dollar corporations today? Yes, there are several billion-dollar corporations, NPO corporations today. And my slide today is only going to touch upon cash donations. That's what we're going to see. There are several other forms of donations, like time donations. Time donations are ones where the software professional probably, he works all through the week like a donkey, and he feels he's not doing anything for the society. So he goes and spends his Saturdays and Sundays or the weekends at an orphanage or an old age home. That is what I call as time donations. Then there is something called as service donations. Professionals like you and me, like doctors. We go and serve the society where there is a requirement without charging any fund of money. That is what I mean by service donations. Then there is kind donations. So during the times of tsunami, people had called for food, medicine, clothes. We all donated towards that cause. That was not cash donation alone, that was kind donations. So we all can contribute in any of the ways. So mine today is only going to touch upon cash donations. Now, how can we get cash donations? So I will discuss with you around 7 channels of funding which is possible. The first and the last ones are very popular ones. I'll just rush through them, which is what you already know and which has been traditionally followed. The second one is the business strategy. I already told you charity with strategy is my strategy for today. So business strategies. Then I have something on e-commerce, the rage in today's world, which we are going to learn how to use e-commerce platform to get funding, and crowdfunding. This is something you'll have to listen to, where it is very interesting. Where when I was doing the study, I found out that there is something called as crowdfunding. Then you have these international funding agencies who have been funding the causes, and the corporate law amendment, the much talked about corporate law amendment, and also of course the bank funding and the government funding that we get. The first one is the very traditional one that we all know. We used to do this when we were school kids. The school used to tell us go and collect 300 rupees, and we used to go to our relatives, we used to go to our friends, we used to go to our neighbors and get all these money. This is the typical form of traditional collecting of monies from people, the receipt book concept. Now, Sister Agnes, I'll tell you what Sister Agnes did. On one of those days, she went to the busy streets and approached a businessman with 3 of her orphan children. So she spread her hands and she asked for some donation for the cause of the orphans. The businessman, without any heart, just pat on her hand. If it was anybody else, probably they would have walked away. What Sister Agnes did, she took her hands, she wiped it on her sari, and again she held her hands. She told, "This is for me, but what do you have for my children?" So what am I? Who was the Sister Agnes? None other than Mother Teresa, the much talked about, known missionaries of charity, which is in Kolkata. And what did she do? They had the heart to get that sort of money. Do all of us have the heart? Yes. For getting money, donations, our heart is required. That is what I was trying to tell. Then there are many other ones like Plant a Tree, Buy a Solar Lantern Project, arranging funds through raising a concert. Then the marathons which happen, we run for a cause, we run for an event and they get the money. And you have naming a block in the mother's name. Like the hall that we are standing was donated by a senior professional, S. Narayanan Hall. So people find a cause in donating and having their names on that. Now, what are these sorts of donations? These are the donations for emotions. So the emotions of people is what you are going to touch on when you get the donations. The next one, the channel 2 one, is the business strategy one. The most important one, and what I'm going to touch on here is some live case studies, not theories. The practical ones which we have come across in our office, on internet, on the web, and we found that being an NPO, they have got lots and lots of money. I would like to take what we did at our office. We have something called as Mahatriya Guru and Jana Foundation, and through that foundation we are educating hundreds of children, and we are supporting them because we find the potential in them. One day we were all sitting and discussing, and we were not, when we give proposals to our clients, they always come back to us with a, asking discount. Sir, discount kortira, on solpa kortira. If we send for 5,000 also, they'll ask 500 discount. If you send for a lakh of rupees also, they'll ask 20,000 discount. So whatever you send, see, you send it with an idea, keeping your cost, keeping your profit, keeping everything in mind, but the clients always have this bad habit. So we thought, okay, we should not at any cost give discount to the client. So we decided this thing. We sent a proposal for a lakh, and the client came back and telling, no, I'm not happy, give me a discount for 20,000. Said, okay boss, 80,000, okay, we'll give you the discount, but 20,000 you have to contribute it to Mahatriya Guru and Jana Foundation. You be happy, we are also happy. 80,000 you are giving us, and 20,000 you are donating from your side for a cause and a support. So that worked, and by doing this alone, we have got in excess of 40 lakhs in the last year, and we have educated excess of 100 children through the money that we got. So this was one of the strategies that we all followed. So again, I'm telling you, I'm going to touch upon a lot of strategies. You need to think what is the strategy that is going to work for you based on some inputs that I'm going to give you. I will take one more example that we did at Guru and Jana. As a management team, we all sat together and we were discussing that so many things we are learning out of the profession and so many morals we are all learning. So we thought, why not bring about the morals and values that we can pass on, what the 20 years of Guru and Jana has learned to the people who are probably starting and who already know. We took one of you as the case example and we all wrote those stories. And we brought out this story, and this book was priced at rupees 800. So when a client used to walk in, we used to tell him, see, this book is priced at 800. Can you please buy it? The money of this goes to the foundation. So we did an indirect branding. So as I'm speaking to you, probably some of you might be thinking, okay, we'll also go back and buy. So I'm practically telling you how to raise money. So 800 rupees is the book, and you go and buy it, that money will go to the foundation. That is what we did at Guru and Jana. So these were the two strategies what we also thought for Mahatria Guru and Jana Foundation. So there is something called as social venture capital. What these venture capitalists do is that they identify a NGO or NPO who is doing a social cause, a social enterprise, and they fund them. That is called social VC. One of the cases, what happened, a person found that there was a lot of demand and there was a supply for one particular thing. What was that? There were servants, housemaids, drivers, securities who were in need of jobs. At the same time, there were people, there were employers, there were households who needed them. So how do you bridge them? That was a brilliant idea. That was a brilliant strategy that they got, and they started something called as Baba Job. And today it is a very successful enterprise. And they got funded by USAID of $6 million for their idea. What USAID thought was that they are providing employment to the lower class of the society and thereby lifting the society to go to the next level altogether. So this was a strategy followed by Baba Jobs. Then there was, if you go back to the old days, probably a decade back or so, AIDS was rampant in the country of Africa, and AIDS was rampant all across. At that time, Pfizer introduced a drug for AIDS, which was probably priced at $3,000 or $4,000, where a common man or a man probably in Africa could not have afforded it. Africa, you know that there is no money for clothing, there is no money for food. Where will you have the money to buy medicine? At this time, there was a man who came with a strategy. He is now today the chairman of CIPLA. He has 2001, there were 2,000 people getting treated for AIDS, but today 6 million people are being treated for AIDS. They are receiving the treatment, and for the price as less as just $1 per day. So what he did, this was a strategy. He decided to break the powerhouse and he bought out a strategy beautifully. Let's go to the next case. Let's say you and me here try and go and give a donation to somebody. Have you ever heard somebody rejecting a donation? They'll tell Beda Nimatra donation is kodala. I don't think so. The NGOs are there for taking a donation. But at such a time when people used to tell yes, yes and yes for donation, somebody thought to tell no. What was their strategy? There was a strategy behind this. A group of retired IAS officers got together and they told, no, we are not going to take donations from you unless you have Baba's blessings. So Puttaparthi Sai Baba's blessings, if you have only, I'll take the money. So what people did, okay, if I am able to donate, that means I have all the blessings, and they all queued up to give lots of money as donation. And this was the drinking water project that happened at the Anantapur district, and it is running so much successfully today. See, you can all think, okay, did they cheat people? What did they do? No, it was with a cause. A revered soul such as Baba was able to mobilize such kind of funds. Can you and I do it? See, we are talking about revered soul. So let's think what a beautiful way that strategy worked. Many of us here would have bought at Fab India. We would have bought the clothes there. You know what Fab India does? Fab India goes to the artisans who are in the Rajasthan deserts. They get all the beautifully handmade clothes to their stores here and they sell it to us in the city. What Fab India also did when they went to meet the artisans was they saw that their children did not have education. So they thought, why not provide education to their children? And they made schools for all the children of the artisans. Their objective and cause was very, very noble. What they did, they wanted to give education. At the same time, they earned the loyalty of the artisans that they would be selling only to these guys. So wasn't that a beautiful strategy? So even if you and I buy today in Fab India and we are paying a premium, we know that the money goes for a cause. So the branding happens for Fab India as well, and you and I are happy to go and give that, buy the clothes there. What you see there is a picture of a refrigerator. Again, I take the example of Rajasthan. The topography is such that the fruits, vegetables and all that is very difficult to grow, and there is no electricity there. Storage becomes a challenge. Seeing this, somebody saw an opportunity. What did they think? Okay, how were your grandmothers and my grandmothers storing water? How was it being kept cool in the times when there was no electricity? They were all putting the water in a mud earthen pot, and that used to help them keep cool. Now this Mitti Cool, what I am referring to, is on the same lines, and they got huge funding out of their idea, and they can sell you a refrigerator for as less as 2,500 rupees, which runs without power. We have that at our office, so we know that it works. So when I was going through all these case studies, I thought, wow, what an eye-opener, and what a way to get money for the funds for a noble cause, but through a strategy. And talking of eye-openers, I want to play this beautiful video for you, which will again tell you what was one of their strategies.
Are now 5 Aravind hospitals in South India. They are all self-sustaining, and together they see over 1.4 million patients.
This video is very important. Just latch on to every single word of how beautifully this hospital is doing today. I will tell you the science behind how they raised funds.
Patients and perform over 200,000 sight-restoring surgeries each year. 2/3 of its services are free. All the Aravind hospitals have free and paying sections. Patients decide where they want to be treated. While choice of accommodation varies between the two sections, the quality of treatment does not. At Aravind, every patient who can pay covers costs for two who cannot. Because of their high numbers, the revenue from paying patients not only covers costs for Aravind's free services, but also generates a surplus that funds all growth and expansion.
And I don't insist upon that man must pay me before I do anything for him. I said, give me the site, man. Let him give whatever he can give. If he has cannot afford, doesn't matter, he can give later. So priority is human welfare.
All the hospitals send medical teams into the villages. Patients requiring surgery are brought back to the base hospital, where they receive food, lodging, treatment, and return transport completely free of charge. Close to 50% of all the patients Aravind treats are sought out and brought back to the hospital through these screening eye camps.
So, wasn't that a very interesting video? What you saw, if you saw the video carefully, was that there were two sets of customers, QA, who were the paying customers, and QB, who were the non-paying customers. What the paying customers did was they could fund the people who were not able to pay, plus they were also helping in the growth of the hospital. Most importantly, what you must know here is there was no bias by the doctors who treated the customers, the patients. They did not know who was the person who was paying the money, who was the person who was not paying the money. Dr. V is who started this Aravind Eye Hospital. He started this hospital at the age of 58, and today it is the largest eye hospital in the world. They perform in excess of 2,000 operations every day and over 200,000 per year. You can't even imagine selling 2,000 idlis a day, and we are talking about 2,000 operations which are happening. Why? The cause is such a huge thing, and they could generate the funds that was required for their cause. That was Urban Eye Hospital.
That is free or low cost?
That too, it is free or low cost. And over a period of time, people have seen what a beautiful treatment they can get, and people have volunteered to pay. Without actually asking for donations, they managed to mobilize so much funds. That was the strategy of Dr. B. Wow, I really enjoyed these business strategies, and now I too have so many thoughts of what are the strategies that I can do. And likewise, I'm leaving you with a lot of thoughts which you can go back and think what are the strategies that you can do for your NGOs. I will touch upon channel 3, which is the e-commerce. E-commerce, what a rage e-commerce is. The way it is growing, it is phenomenal. One such concept of e-commerce was this CAPTCHA. Somebody by name Louis Vuong, a computer scientist, came across this idea. He saw that there were millions and millions of literature lying across all over the world, be it your Bibles, your Roman literature, or so many things which required to be digitized in today's world. When we are all paying monies on the internet, doing net banking, we all come across something where an image is given, and we have to carefully read what that image is and type that out. Do you know what all of you are doing by doing that? When Louis Vuong saw that there was so many requirement of digitization, he thought to employ thousands of people to do the digitization was going to be so difficult. So he came across with this brilliant idea where lakhs and lakhs, including you and me, are helping in the digitization that is happening today. So all these images, what you actually key in when you do it, it is going to convert into digitized versions of so many books. The statistics I got to know is there are 100 million words a day that are getting done, and 2.5 million books per annum through this model of CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA is nothing but completely automated public Turing test to tell computers and humans apart. So through a simple concept of CAPTCHA, somebody could monetize that model, and he could get a lot of money. He could do his idea very well. Now e-commerce, again, Book My Show, all of us would have booked a lot of tickets on Book My Show. And as we are actually finally paying the money, we find that there is something called Book a Smile and Rupee 1 donation. We all don't mind paying Rupee 1 towards donation, so less. But what today Book My Show is able to do is they have 5 million registered users and over a lakh of ticket sales per day, through which they are mobilizing in excess of 50,000 rupees per day by doing just nothing. They have just bridged the technology, they have come out with a fabulous idea, and they are able to mobilize their funds. And Akanksha is the project through which all this money is going to, and they are doing phenomenal projects. Just an idea. And these credit cards also have many of the loyalty points. And what they do is the loyalty points, if you accumulate some of the loyalty points, you can redeem it towards charity. You can buy a cry coupon, you can buy some other charity organization coupons you can buy. So as a customer, when I have accumulated a lot of points, what I feel, okay, dud kodbeku nanu, and actually I'm not paying money, I can redeem my points. Isn't it a very nice way of collecting money? This was one of the ideas. Like that, you have a lot of e-commerce websites, TripAdvisor, Expedia, who are doing this. So you and me, what we can do is go to probably Flipkart, today a very good successful e-commerce site, go and check with them, have a strategy, have an objective, what you were doing, and probably tell them, see, 1 rupee we can tie up, and 1 rupee of what you're going to do is going to go to the cause. So it's good branding for Flipkart, and your NGO also gets a cause. So e-commerce, you can use that very well. My next channel, the channel 4, is your crowdfunding. I already told you it's going to be an interesting one. What crowdfunding basically means is raising small amounts from large numbers of people via the internet. Small drops of water makes an ocean. So the photo that you can see there is of a raise money through Kickstarter. He saw that his wife was having trouble and he was determined to help. There were these villagers who would miss work on a monthly basis. The women who were missing, and he thought that why can't they also come and work? And he saw that the sanitary pads were costing a lot of money and the women could not afford to be able to go to work. So he devised and he came out with an idea where he manufactured sanitary pads at a very low cost. If you see there, what Kickstarter does is they help you in building a project. Let's say an NGO approaches Kickstarter, they help you in building a project and they give you a feedback about how your project is, and they help you launch it to the world. Whatever presentation you have about your product, they help you launch it to the world, and they help you track the funding that you would have got. By funding, what I'm meaning is, if you see there, there are 191 backers and $25,241 already received. Out of $50,000 is what he wants, and 14 days to go. And each one can pledge as less as $1, and many of us would be willing to do it. So this is the concept of crowdfunding, and have a good objective and go to give your idea, and many people are willing to back you up for whatever idea you have. Likewise, there is Millap. What Millap does is they don't do charity directly. They help you to donate, they help you to loan money to the causes that they are supporting, and at the end of 3 years, let's say you have supported somebody for college education, at the end of 3 years, once he graduates and he gets into a job, he is going to repay the money that you have loaned to him. That's what Millap is doing. So there are many small people who are willing to give as less as 3,000 rupees or even lesser and help a whole lot of people. Millap is also probably, that's a crowdfunding concept. And what I told you already about Banter Beyond the Buck, BBB, what we've also done is we have listed it on Amazon, and there are many users every day who are shopping on the internet, who are contributing towards the cause. So there's a big crowd who is funding money for us for the project. That too can be one of the ideas what you can follow. So raising small amounts is not difficult at all. Actually, this crowdfunding concept is not too new. In the olden days, what people would do is they used to go to their friends or relatives and get 5,000 rupees each from all of them, and they would raise a lakh of rupees and start a business. What we all used to do in a different way is now done in a much more structured way through crowdfunding. Now comes the Channel 5, which is international funding. You have the Rotary matching grants, you have Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, the USAID, the Microsoft aid, the big corporations who are doing a lot of work in NGO sectors today. They want to contribute a lot to the society. But nanu neevu hodre kodtara avaru hogi sir namige ದುಡ್ಡು ಬೇಕು ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ can a corporation as big as Microsoft or Melinda give us? Yes, they can give, provided what? So what are the prerequisites to raise international funding? I already told you that there has to be a strategy, and the concept what you have should be backed with the strategy. It has to be aligned, and it is required to have a high level of governance when you are going to these international funding organizations. Plus, the most important one is your scalability plus sustainability, which causes a social change. By scalability and sustainability, what I mean is, you have this idea, you want to plant trees, and you want to plant, let's say, 100 trees. So if you go and ask Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation, give me money for 100 trees I want to plant, will they give you? No, what they're asking is scalability and sustainability. So your idea should be that you have the idea to plant 10,000 trees in a locality, and you have this idea where the model that you're going to follow for this street is going to be replicated in many more streets, thereby causing, contributing and growing in excess of 10,000 trees everywhere, and you're able to sustain it for a period of 10 years. How are you going to sustain those trees that you are going to plant for the next 10 years? Ultimately, imagine tens and thousands of trees which are going to get planted everywhere will get you so much upliftment of the society, which brings about a social change. Now, this is what international funding does. So if you are going to some international funding organization, you have to make sure that you have a professional backing and who will help you do all your material. Now this company law amendment, I'm not going to touch on the law. This is very simple. What you have to do is identify the companies today which are making profits in excess of 5 crores or rupees. How do you do that? You pay rupees 50 on the internet, get them to download their financials, go approach them that we want you to contribute towards our towards our NGO. But the important thing and the catch here is that you should be able to sell your idea to them. The objective should match with what the company is doing. Not just going and approaching them alone would work. It should also be backed by some sort of an idea which will help in branding of their products too. Like what Fabindia did, they too did the CSR which they are doing is helping branding of Fabindia also. Now the bank funding and the government PPP is, you can probably go to these government sectors and the banks which we might already be knowing this. They support a particular sector like your health, like educational institutions. So there are many such institutes which are very popularly giving monies for the particular sectors, and these government also give various subsidies for health and education. So this is also one of the modes of channels of funding. Actually, I have already completed all my 7 channels of funding, and what is important is your CSR rating. Now, what do you mean by CSR rating? Karmayog today is the only company which is giving a CSR rating, who has rated about 500 companies today. And what level 4 companies are the ones which is the highest level of CSR. How this would help you is if you are an NGO which is rated by one of these organizations, it will help you mobilize funds even better. So if you go and tell them that you are a A++ or a B+ in the certificate that you've got for the activities that you're doing, there will be many corporates and many of them who would be willing to fund you for whatever you're doing. So we all understood branding is very important. All of them here today want to contribute to the society. The society is changing and they want to contribute in one way or the other to whatever objectives that they are doing. Now, if you see here, it's Levi's and Tide who are the companies. What Levi's, it's a beautiful a t-shirt which tells giving back to schools 2013. The money that they are earning, they are giving back to the schools. And Tide, they have put pictures of many people where they are talking about loads of hope for the people. So this branding, whatever you are doing, do it in such a way that it appeals to the people, and more people will definitely like to come and buy with you. Even these lifestyle have the option of collecting money, where when they are taking money from you, they'll ask, "Sir, would you like to contribute ₹1 towards a cause which lifestyle is supporting?" Many of us would definitely be willing to do that. So those are some of the unique things that you can think of when you want to collect money for your NGOs. It can't be just the traditional methods which have worked so far. Yes, it will work, but it is not going to help you scale up. So branding strategies is very important. And finally, I would like to conclude with the cycle of CSR. As let's take an example of a software company. They fund 200 children in a school, and those schools will go to college on a sponsorship, and the same company can go back to the same college or school and do some campus interviews and recruit them on the company, and they will grow up in the social ladder, and they will do CSR in school. That's the CSR cycle today, and which is working well for many corporations. I thank you all for the patient hearing, and I have not put a thank you slide. I personally wanted to thank each one of you to be here. The thoughts that you can all go with is that it is possible today, and changing paradigm of NPOs is what it is. Today the paradigm has changed phenomenally. It's not just the age-old thing, and I urge each one of you to come out with a strategy for whatever noble cause that you are doing. So my Guruji always tells, when your purpose is bigger than you yourself alone, everything is going to happen. So all the best in raising funds for whichever NGOs you are associated with, and thank you very much.